it's not really something we want to be discussing at Christmas time. However, this is the monster over the hill, guys. MTD is coming for us in April 2026, and we have to get this cloud accounting software locked in to our businesses now. We need to get it locked in advance before this rolls out April 2026. You know that I've been banging that digital drum for many years inside Trowel Talk community. I'm like a stuck record when it comes to, adding digital systems into your business. The world's going digital, has gone digital, and HMRC are following suit. So what is it? What is MTD? We've heard the phrase being thrown around a lot. MTD's coming. MTD. What is it? Make tax digital is what it stands for. Essentially, HMRC are digitizing the tax system. Okay, so in this guide today, what I'm hoping I can do for you is basically give you a bit of an overview of what it is. And listen, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a tax expert, I'm a spread like you. But since launching the coaching group, The Tribe, a few years ago, I'm trying to kind of keep my finger on the pulse for you, keep my ear to the ground and anticipate this kind of stuff that we have to deal with in our business. Okay, so I've done a bit of research. I've got a good amount of information for you. This affects me as well. And again, anybody that's self-employed, nobody's safe from MTD. If you're a VAT registered company, you'll already know that this was introduced in the way of VAT recently. I think it was a couple years back. So the lads that are VAT registered should know a little bit on this already. However, now they're coming after the self-employed, the sole trader, the landlords, and soon they will be coming after limited companies too. In the way of corporation tax, they're going to come after you lads too. So all of us are going to need to understand and get our heads around MTD. We're going to have to learn it, guys. We're going to have to understand it because it's going to affect all of us. Okay, if you're a sole trader plasterer, up till now we've only had to submit one report per year. One report, which is the self-assessment tax return. That's what we've always known. That's what we've always done. And that in itself is an absolute ball ache sometimes, and stressful, and can be overwhelming and hard enough just doing one report. What MTD means for us is we're going to be going from doing one report per year to 5 reports per year. So we're going to have to submit quarterly submissions, guys, throughout the year in digital form. So we can't do manual entry anymore. We can't do, pen and paper stuff anymore. We have to start keeping digital financial records. Essentially, it's what we're doing. So that's it in a nutshell. HMRC are going digital. They want 4 submissions from us per year, plus the end of year submission tax return that we'd normally do. We still have to do that as well. So totaling 5. So we're going from 1 to 5. That's the big change. And they're going to kind of roll this out in stages. Let me just turn that music down a little bit, lads. Turn that music down a little bit. That's better. Should have a slurp of coffee. Listen, if you happen to be up and about, I know that many lads are going to be on the tools today, trying to hit them deadlines before Christmas. But if you've got half an hour get your ears around this, and feel free to join the chat as well if you've got any questions. Like I say, I'm no tax expert, but might be able to signpost you to the right information that you need for your situation, hopefully. And if I can't do it live now, I'll get the information for you at some point. Good morning, Chris Ball. I hope you're well. Good morning, Jordan Lowe, and the other boys that have jumped in on Trial Talk. Again, if you're up and about, you got any questions, you want to get involved, or if anybody's got any thoughts, struggles in this area. I've got a few issues with the chat box on the tribe. I'm trying to run the chat through both groups. So if there's a bit of a lag, I do apologise. So the changes I've highlighted there and outlined for you, the changes that are coming. And if you earn £50,000 or more, and this is gross income, this is your sales, this is your turnover. If you turn over 50 grand or more, you're going to be pulled into MTD automatically. But that doesn't mean I don't need to panic if I'm not turning over that kind of money. Everything's going to be all right. I'll stay as I am. No, that's not the case, because in April 2027, they're going to drop this to 30 grand. In 2028, between 2028 and 2029, they're going to drop it again to 20 grand. Essentially, what they're trying to do is digitize every single self-employed person and get them submitting financial records digitally through HMRC. That's the big change. 50 grand is the kind of first starting point, and they're going to stage it over the next few years, and no one's safe. That's why we need to get on with this now. And if you're an old school spread, that kind of burying your head in the sand and refusing to look at anything digital because it might overwhelm you, and you might just be one of them old school type of spreads that it's just too overwhelming and you don't know where to start with it. Then listen, you ain't got a choice anymore. We have to embrace these digital platforms. Okay, cloud software accounting is what we need to do, and that's mandatory. It's mandatory. We can't do manual entry anymore. All right. So sole traders must switch to keeping digital financial records and send quarterly updates to HMRC. In a nutshell, that's what it is. And we've got to do that using approved software instead of filing one annual tax return. All right. And let's be clear as well. HMRC are not doing this to help us to be more efficient and more organized. And that's how it's being kind of framed in the media. It's being kind of framed as all positive and progressive. HMRC just want to help the working man. Yeah, okay. The reality is, guys, is HMRC are forecasted that by 2030, MTD, across all their means of MTD, could potentially generate another £2 billion in tax revenue by 2030. So we know what this is. They're looking to close the tax gap, as they call it. They're looking to fleece us as much as they can. And obviously that's worrying and it's scary. But the other side of the coin, the flip side of the coin, is if we're forced to now keep digital financial records in our businesses, then we need to make the most of that and turn this to work in our favor. I'm not saying this is a positive and happy thing that's happening, because it's not. But what we need to do is understand it, get a grip of it, get this set up early doors, and make this work in our favor. That's what we need to be doing with MTD, not being scared of it and burying our head in the sand and leaving it till last minute. That's the worst thing we can do. That's the worst thing we can do. I've spoke to a couple of different accountants on this topic now, okay? And they've both told me that where they think HMRC are going to be getting their money from isn't necessarily through small business owners paying more tax, not necessarily, although some will, no doubt. Where they're going to get their money, guys, is through fines. So if we have to submit quarterly reports to HMRC and we drop the balls and we miss the deadline, I've heard down the grapevine that we could be looking at £200, a £200 fine per missed deadline. Now you add that up over thousands and thousands of self-employed people that are no doubt going to be dropping the balls. We're flat out, we're busy, we're working long hours. We can't always have the time to do one submission per year. That's stressful enough, like I said earlier, but now we're expected to do 5. It goes without saying that many self-employed people are going to be dropping the balls and missing these deadlines, and that's where HMRC are going to come in and generate money through fines. So I think they're going to be creaming in a lot through fines and missed payments, mostly. But it doesn't necessarily mean, so in short, MTD doesn't necessarily mean that as sole traders and plasterers that we're going to be paying more tax. It just means that we've got to report more often. We still only pay tax once a year, as usual. It means we've got to send figures to HMRC 4 times a year instead of 1 big return, basically. So these are like updates, not tax bills. Final tax bill is still worked out at the end of the year, okay? So what are the first steps we need to take to make sure that we're prepped and ready, locked and loaded for when this happens in April? The first thing we need to do then is check our income levels. Some of us have got a good grip on our bookkeeping, our income. We know what's happening. Most of us haven't. If I'm going off the guys that I've been coaching the last few years, most of us have not got a good grip on our finances. We don't know what the fuck is going on half the time. So we need to get a closer grip and a control over the ins and outs financially in our business. So we've got to check our income levels. What have we earned in the last tax year when it comes to sales? And again, this isn't profit. This is just what you've turned over, sales. What have we sold? What have we turned over? So if it's £50,000 or more, it's MTD time. And again, even if it's not and it's lower than that, next year they're dropping it to 30k. So that's the first thing we need to do, is check our income levels and see if we do indeed need to implement the software needed for MTD. We'll come on to that as well. We'll come on to the digital side of it soon, and I'll walk you through some of the apps and the software that we need to use. It's got to be compatible software, guys, as well. Right, so number 2 then, we need to set up a government gateway account. If you're brand new to self-employment, I've got a couple of lads in the tribe who are on the verge of going self-employed. So they're considering going self-employed. They're not self-employed yet, but they're considering going self-employed. And for these guys, they haven't got a government gateway account or a UTR number. So if most of us that are self-employed, we've been self-employed for a while, we're already going to have you know, the UTR number, the government gateway account all set up, because we'll be used to using that to pay our tax return, to submit our information to HMRC. But if you're thinking of going self-employed, or you've just gone self-employed, then you need to get this set up, guys, in order to submit your MTD quarterly submissions. And then the third thing is, you've got to now decide, are you going to handle this yourself and try and do it yourself, or are you going to work with your accountant to do it? And it's worth mentioning, your accountant fees are probably going to go up, no doubt, because it's 5 times. And although this is done digitally, and a lot of it is going to be automated and automatic, the accountant still has to submit the information. So it's more work his end or her end. So naturally their costs, their fee, the bill is going to increase. So talk to your accountant about that. Personally, for me, I'll be using an accountant, and I'll explain what I've set up and how I've set that up during this guide for you. I'm going to turn that Wi-Fi off. Bear with. Okay, bit of a lag on the internet, guys. I apologise if I'm a bit jerky this morning. Could be that I've not had enough caffeine as well. Listen, while I'm on this live stream as well, I just want to give a big shout out to Lee Fury, and you're doing a top job of the Christmas raffle, mate, the countdown to Christmas, and it's much appreciated. I hope everybody's enjoying that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about and you've missed it, I'm sure you've seen it. Lee's giving away prizes each day up till Christmas. So catch his post, jump in, comment, like, share, go join his group as well. Spread the love, as he says, and share the Christmas spirit. And there's a lot of prizes being given away. We've also got the Tribe Christmas hamper. You've probably seen me share that yesterday. We've got a box of goodies, courtesy of Rafina Tools. One lucky Tribe member will win that next week. So I'm going to be revealing the winner next week. And if you jump back into Trial Talk on the main feed, you'll be able to see what you get inside the box. So I just wanted to do that. Mention that. And there's a couple of changes coming inside the tribe for the tribe lads. We've got some group mentors being introduced 2026. These are the guys that started at the very bottom. They joined a couple years back. For example, Josh Parker, Dan Bunce. I'm going to introduce a couple of other lads as well to help with the mentoring. But in a nutshell, these lads joined a couple years back because they were paying heavily for leads, My Builder, Checker Trade. They joined because they wanted to bin these platforms off and be self-sufficient and organic. And they've managed now to completely eliminate paid ads and memberships with these lead generation companies. So they're completely organic, self-sufficient, and they've got website pages locked in. They're ranking first on Google Business Profile. They've got video content that they do across multiple platforms. They've got automation set up. They've essentially done 99% of the trainings inside the tribe, and now they're in a strong position, and they're kind of at the other end of the training now, and they're doing really well. So for these reasons, I've sort of cherry-picked these guys to be an inspiration and a mentor to the new lads that are joining, to show them, look, listen, this works. I've gone from this to this, and here's how I can help you. So rather than me just sort of banging the drum and showing them examples from my own business, I can use these lads now as examples in their businesses of what they've built and what they've done. So that's going to be rolling out 2026, the mentorships. inside the tribe. So that was worth a mention. And by the way, if you are struggling with any of that, if you're low on work, if you're overwhelmed, if you're just struggling in general, then the door's open for anybody listening to join the tribe. It's 80p a day. It's 1 month free. You get your first month free at the minute, through December and January as well. So there's no risk. You don't like it, you're not lost any money. You get your money back. So the door's open, and anyone's welcome to come join, poke their head in and have a look around. Okay, so I just wanted to get that cleared up. Let's get back into this then. Decide if you're going to handle this yourself or work with an accountant. Most of us have got an accountant. If you haven't got an accountant set up, then you're probably going to need an accountant when MTD creeps in, because it's going to be too much for the self-employed man, in my opinion, to be doing 5 submissions per year. Is too much. Good morning, James Arathun. I hope you're keeping well, mate. Good morning, Imad. Hope you're all good. Got any questions, any thoughts on this tax topic? It's a boring topic. It's a horrible topic, but we've got to get it on the table, and we've got to unwrap it and unpack it, and we've got to get our heads around it. And we have to do this in advance of this happening, not 2 days before. So what do we need to do then? Let's get, to the meat on the bone. What do we have to do in our businesses? What changes do we have to make to prepare ourselves for MTD? Well, I've just said there, you need a good accountant. That goes without saying. But we're going digital. So if you're not digital right now, if you haven't got any cloud accounting software whatsoever, then that's what you need to do. That's the big step you need to take, is you need to implement cloud accounting software in your business. Trim that music down a bit more. So my question to you, to the guys that are watching now live, have you got any accounting software set up? Have you got anything set up? Now I'm sharing on the screen with you guys just a handful of popular apps that you've probably heard of. Some of you watching now probably got one of these set up already. And if you have got one of these set up already, MTD is going to be a lot less painful than for the lads that are still on, pen and paper or doing manual entries, because you're pretty much 80% set up already if you've got this locked in and you use this system. Because many of these apps, not just the ones that I'm sharing on the screen, but many of these apps are MTD compatible. That means that they're already streamlined and set up to work with HMRC and submit your MTD reports already. Not all of them are. So we need to make sure, we need to do our homework, and we need to check before you go signing up to these apps and subscribing and setting an account up. You need to check first, is this app compatible with MTD? If it's not, choose one that is. And I'll put a link in to the comment section underneath this live stream. And that will take you to a page where you can go and search and check if they are MTD compatible or not. But obviously the big ones like Xero, QuickBooks, FreshBooks and Sage, the 4 that I'm sharing here on the screen, these are compatible, and many others are compatible too. So just check that, make sure. And when it comes to signing up to these apps, speak to your bank, because, for example, I've just signed up with FreshBooks a few months ago, and because I'm a Barclays business customer, I got this completely free. Okay, so if you've got a business account with a high street bank, go and speak to them before you spend money. I mean, the prices aren't extravagant. And this will depend on the size of your business as well. It's going to depend on the size of your business. Good morning, Chris Hughes. I hope you're keeping well, mate. So Zero, for example, starts at £16 a month, goes up to £60 a month. QuickBooks starts at £10 a month, up to £115 a month. Obviously, we're not going to be spending that unless we've got maybe we've got somebody in the office that helps us and lads out in the field. So if you're a larger business with a team, then some of these apps can work for larger companies. But, for sole traders or 1 or 2 man setups, then we're going to be looking at anywhere between 10 and £20 a month, something like that. However, this is software that we have to run indefinitely, year in and year out, for a long, long period of time. So if we can get it heavily discounted through our banks, or if we can get it for free, then let's get it done. How you doing, Dan Canlin? I hope you're keeping well, mate, and I hope you got a nice break coming up next week, back end of next week, to spend with the family. Dan says he's got I've got Zero, but fuck knows how to use it. He set this up earlier in the year, mate. They're not simple and easy to use. Neither is FreshBooks, if I'm completely honest. And listen, we're already time poor because we're self-employed. You know what the message is in the tribe. I try to automate everything and get everything working fast, easy, and in most situations for free, because we're so busy. So we need systems that are fast, quick, simple, and don't take, and it's not too much of a time drain, basically. So I know exactly what you're saying. I don't know how to use all of the options in FreshBooks. Essentially, what I've done with FreshBooks is I've created an account, and then I've connected my business account bank feed into FreshBooks. And then I've given my accountant access to dip in and out of FreshBooks whenever he wants. Now, that took me like a couple of hours to set all that up. I can't say it was completely simple, because it wasn't. So but it depends what you like with tech. Some lads are brilliant with this kind of thing and they can do it in 10 minutes. Other lads, they're going to need help. They're going to need their missus or their accountant to help them set all this stuff up. So there's no shame in this. If it's something you struggle with, then you reach out and you just get the people around you that can do it. It's not like you have to sit there banging your head against the wall. We just bring in the people to help us do it, guys. Good morning, Glenn Daly. Hope you're well, mate. Bring in the people to help you. Bring in your accountant. Bring in the missus, or bring in the brother-in-law. Whoever it is in your circle that is pretty good with tech and they're quite savvy with this kind of stuff, then just bring them in. Get them to sit with you on the laptop for an hour on a Saturday morning and get them to help you set everything up, and you'll get it sorted. Now, these apps, again, this is mandatory stuff. We ain't got a choice. We ain't got a choice with it, lads, anymore. We've had a choice up till now. I can carry on working in the Stone Ages with pen and paper and doing these manual submissions, but now we haven't got a choice. You have to have this accounting software locked in. It's mandatory. So hence why I'm doing this guide for you. But again, check to make sure whoever you use, whether it's Xero, QuickBooks, whoever it is, make sure that they've got that they're MTD compatible, basically. And again, I've got some information here for you that I managed to pull offline last night. Go to your bank first. Even if you're a sole trader and you're running your business through a current account, okay, which is completely legal. Many high street banks will allow this. No dramas at all if you're a sole trader. Different situation if you're limited. You need a business account. But NatWest, for example, they do an app called Free Agent. Free Agent is MTD compatible. I did check that. That's free. Okay. Virgin Money, they do heavily discounted subscription on Zero. I mentioned Barclays do FreshBooks, so I've got FreshBooks set up for nothing. That's free. Lloyd's do an app called BFA, and these are just 4 examples, guys. These are just 4 examples that I pulled last night. Business Finance Assist, it's called. Again, heavily discounted or completely free through your bank. So get in touch with your bank, have a chat with them, see if there's anything they can do in the way of discounts, or maybe try and get something set up for free, so that when you're moving forward, as the years pass, obviously if you're paying £60 a month for 5 years, that's a lot of money, isn't it? So if we can get the price down, you can also use digital spreadsheets. But I mean, who's got the time for this when you're on the tools, on the trowel? Like I say, some lads are going to be savvy in this area and well on top of things. Most of us are not. Most of us are going to struggle. So let's go back to these steps again, and I'll reiterate it again for you. The first hit is April. Okay. So 6th of April to the 5th of July. That's the first one. And this is more information for your accountant, like I say, unless you're going to sit down and be doing this yourself online through your apps. I wouldn't recommend it, if I'm honest. They're called tax advisors for a reason, and they're the experts, aren't they? That's what they're there for. We're going to save money long term. We're probably going to save more money paying them, because it means obviously less. We're getting spanked less on tax. So pay the accountant what they ask for. I never question my accountant's bill. I just say, what's the bill? And that's it, because he sorts all this out. So the first one is between 6th of April, 5th of July 2026. The next submission will be July. 6th of July to the 5th of October. Third one, 6th of October to the 5th of January. And then 2027, 4th quarter, 4th of Jan, 2027. And that'll be, and then there's the end of January 27 will be, where you put your final submission in. But I mean, I don't know if they still call it a tax return, or if they changed it all up, but essentially it's the same thing. And that'll be where you'll get, assessed on what you owe. So they don't sort of look at each submission over the year and say, right, you owe this now in April, you owe this now in July. It's just a snapshot for HMRC to look into your ins and outs of your business, basically. And we know what it's like. I said earlier, it's going to be the fines that trip us up, and it's going to be the fines that HMRC make their money on, isn't it? £200 a pop, and you add that up over how many self-employed people are going to drop the balls. You're talking millions of pounds in fine money. So again, if we can get the software set up properly, we get a good accountant. Most of us have already got a good accountant anyway. We get those two boxes ticked. We can take our foot off the gas a little bit and leave it to them. We still have to be on the ball. We still have to be making sure that we've got a firm grip and we're clued up on what we're doing. But the accountant and the software should do all the heavy lifting for us, guys. And like I said earlier, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be spanked for more tax. Not necessarily. And I want to come on to expenses, because I think a lot of us are under declaring. I think a lot of us are mixing personal income with business income. And if we do that, if we operate like that, we're going to be paying too much tax. So we'll talk about that briefly. Good morning, Anthony. Hope you're all good, buddy. Anthony Walton says that he's with Monzo. He's got a business account with Monzo. I think they have a built-in tax system. Haven't looked into it yet, but I'll check. Yeah, go and check, mate. I didn't look at Monzo, if I'm honest. I looked at last night. I've seen that NatWest do a free one, Virgin Money, Barclays, and Lloyds. But phone them. Go on the app, see if there's any options there. Type in MTD in the search bar on your banking apps, lads. See if anything pops up. And like I said before you start setting up this software, just make sure it is MTD compatible. Good morning, Lee Fury. Hope you're all good, mate. I gave you a plug earlier, and a big thanks for what you're doing inside the groups. Hats off, buddy. I know that must take a lot of your time to do that, which is appreciated. I'm sure everyone appreciates what you're doing. Lee says that he uses Zero. It's £30 a month. Unless you go up a tier to projects. I'm not sure about Zero, mate, but and he says that's an extra £5. Yeah, so 30 quid. I mean, and Lee, I think Lee's got a staff member as well that he has in his business. So for £30, I'm sure that easily is covered. But like I say, if you're stepping into self-employment or you're a sole trader, and that 30 quid, if it can be shrunk to £10 or £15, like I say, it seems like we're talking silly numbers and it's not much money, but because this is software that we have to run indefinitely, we could be running software for 2 decades. So I no doubt they're going to creep prices up at some point. And of course, it's all going to add up, isn't it? And it is tax deductible, of course. But we need to keep hold of that precious capital, don't we? So if we can get it for free or get it cheaper, then let's try and get it set up. And just out of curiosity, Lee, is that £30 a month through your business bank deal, or is that you've just gone direct to Zero? Be good to clarify that, mate. Something I found out this year, says Lee, is that deposits carried over are not taxable. 100%. And my accountant made me aware of this about 18 months ago. And you're 100% correct. And I'm glad you've brought that up, Lee. That's an important point. So, guys, if we're taking deposits, if we're taking job deposits, okay, that's not necessarily classed as income, because as Lee's just highlighted there, these deposits are refundable if the customer pulls the rug or moonwalks out of the agreement. So just because you've took a hefty job deposit, that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be now classed as business income in that time period within that quarter. So like Lee's just said, it could be carried over. So keep that in mind as well, but we'll come on to expenses in a minute. I've only got one screen, so it's a bit... I'm just sort of spinning plates with the comment box, so bear with. Steve Broderick, how you doing, mate? Hope you're keeping well. He's got a Starling business account. They offer a business toolkit for an extra £7 a month. But I don't need that as I've got QuickBooks. Sounds good. I'm not sure whether that Starling business account toolkit is MTD compatible, but it'd be worth finding that information out, because if that's £7 a month, I don't know, what's QuickBooks? So let's go back onto where QuickBooks was. Oh, to be fair, QuickBooks is £10 a month, so it's not much difference, is it? But yeah, I'd be interested to know whether that toolkit you mentioned is indeed MTD compatible or not. He says, my accountant put me onto QuickBooks a few years ago for free. I'm sure he'll have deals with accounting software. Good shout. Yeah, speak to your accountants as well as speaking to your banks. Again, I'm not a tax expert and I'm not an accountant, but I think how some accountants are going to work is they'll have their own systems locked in already of what they use. So whatever we set up, they're going to take the information and fire it across into their own software and then submit it that way. And just to mention, guys, the bank feed is not mandatory. I found that information out for you last night as well. So the bank feed, because obviously there's a big worry now. Oh, HMRC are going to, they're going to have full access straight into my bank account. What's mandatory is the accounting software, not your bank feed. So you don't have to have your bank linked with the software, is what I'm saying. You can still do manual entry into the software, but of course that's going to be an absolute pig. It's going to be a ball ache to do that. Who's got the time to do that? So most of us will be running a feed into the software. But however you do it is down to you, and you'd have to decide how much time have you got and how much help do you need, basically. Now let's jump into the... got some notes here for you. Let's talk about expenses for a minute. Like I said earlier, most lads are underclaiming on expenses. So if we've not got a grip on the ins and outs in our business, that's where we can drop the balls and we're not including everything that we need to include when we're putting these quarterly submissions in. And of course, if HMRC doesn't see an expense, then the balance could be categorized as profit, and that's going to mean higher tax. So the common sense stuff we need to do, probably not common sense if you're new to self-employment or you're considering self-employment 2026, it's probably not common sense. But the lads that have been running their own show for many years, already what you can put down as an expense, but you just throw everything you can in would be my advice. Throw everything in, including the kitchen sink. Materials, obviously, fuel. Okay. Any new tools that you've bought? Have you bought a new van? Have you had your van repaired? Believe it or not, I've spoke to a guy off Trial Talk a couple months ago, and he had a new turbo fitted. Oh, I didn't put that through. Why not? Anything that your van costs, anything. Tyres, MOTs, insurance, sign writing. You buy a new roof rack. Excuse me. You buy a new roof rack that gets thrown through. Anything to do with your van. You have to run it through. Your phone. Are you using your kitchen table to do your admin at home? That's office time, isn't it? That's a portion of that. You're using for your business. So you're using internet at home. That can be used, as an expense. It's legit because you are using your internet. PPE, for the site lads, if you're having to buy boots every 6 months, high vises, hard hats, gloves, masks, eye protection, if you're having to invest and buy all this shit yourself, it's tax deductible, guys. Any training, loads of lads have done Lee's course and the Corksole course. They've done my course. They've done IWI training courses. They've done, I've done thin coat render and spray render training courses. Are you running it through, lads? Are you putting it through? Off the tools training, business training, the tribe membership, run it through. Run everything through because it's a business expense. Any kind of training you've had, run it through. I mentioned your accountant fees are going to go up because you're going from 1 submission to 5 submissions a year. So if your accountant fees are going up, that's an expense. That's a business expense that can be tax deductible. So whatever your accountant bill is, throw that back in. That'll go against your tax bill as well. If I've missed anything, just running these off, hit the comments. You know, what are your thoughts on this? Have you been caught out in the past? Have you managed to get your tax bill down significantly? The self-employed lads that have been going a long time, offer down your tips and your comments to the new self-employed lads that are coming up. Help them, give them advice and tips, because it's one of the most stressful and hardest things we have to do as self-employed people, is have the pressure and stress of tax. And there's this sort of stigma, and a couple comments come in last week, you know, oh, you self-employed lads are creaming it in, you know, you're all minted, you know, all the cash that you take. You know, joking aside, if you can get through the injuries and still put bread on the table for your kids, if you can get through the bad weather and still bring in a half decent income over the 12 months that we've had to, you know, go and kill something, drag it back home and feed the family. If you can survive the weather, especially if you're external, if you can survive your van blowing up, if you can survive customers messing you around, cancelling jobs, paying you late, paying you when they decide to pay on their terms, if you can, you know, survive all this stress, not knowing where your next meal's coming from, if you can survive all this and you get to the end and you've still managed to feed your family and bank a little bit for yourself, and you've got a good attitude, then I take my hat off to you, because self-employment is no joke. And we all have a bit of a laugh and a joke. Oh, self-employed tradespeople are, you know, they're creaming it in. They don't pay tax. They got all this cash. Like, let's get realistic. If someone's stuffing a load of notes in the mattress, who's paying the gas bill? How are you paying for things? Look, the reality is, people are not. If you're a working man, okay, and you've managed to keep your business going for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, you're raising a family, you've got all these expenses, you're not going to be able to pay cash for everything. Okay, it's common sense. So let's try and change the perception of tradespeople, that we've got all this cash stuffed around in the house, and we pay for everything in cash. You know, it might have been the case fucking 30 years ago, but not anymore. Everything's digital. It's been that way for a long time, and it's difficult and it's hard. So if you've managed to survive it, and you bring a little bit back to the family, now we're getting hit with MTD. So we've got to become even more resilient to this. We're getting hit, but there's something else coming at us each year, isn't there? And now it's MTD. So, but if we can survive all that shit, then we can survive this as well, and we can keep going and being successful. And like I said before, we don't want to go self-employed just to keep our nose above water and survive, do we? What's the point? Might as well go and get a job if that's the case. We want to be in a strong position where we feel, you know, we're in control of things. The reason we go self-employed is so we get to pick and choose where we work, who we work for, how much we earn, the hours, the flexibility that it offers us, the pride that we get, and the control we get over our own working life. You know, my son had his nativity play this week. I dropped the tools and went and watched it. I can do that. I can choose to do that. I'm self-employed. I could never do that if I had a job. I'd have to go begging to my boss, oh, please, could I have 2 hours off? You know, I don't want to be in that position again. I'm probably unemployable at this point. I've been self-employed too long. So, but this kind of shit does put you off. You know, I'm not going to deny that. There's a lot of anger response to MTD. I've seen in the comments. People talking about quitting, throwing the towel in, walking away from their business. The government have just pushed them to their limits and making it harder and harder for the working man, rewarding lazy people that don't want to work, and whipping and punishing the working man all the time. So I understand the frustration, but we also have to look at the positives and the reasons we went self-employed in the first place, and what it gives us and what it brings to us and what it does for us. So I wanted to pump you up, because I don't want to see people quitting, you know, hanging their trowel up and walking away just because they've got to submit a few more submissions over the year. So we need to be prepared. If you can get prepared, speak to your accountant, lock in this software, you're done. That's all you need to do. And maybe we could look at this as an opportunity to become more efficient, more organized, get a grip of our bookkeeping finally. Because if you're one of them spreads that have spent years with your head buried in the sand and ignoring this problem in your business, not knowing the numbers, not knowing where you're at, not understanding the bookkeeping side of things and the cash flow side of things and the record keeping side of things, then maybe this is the push you need, the nudge you need to make changes in your business and get a grip. If you understand something, it's no longer stressful. It's when we don't understand how does this work? What is this? That's when it's stressful, because we don't understand it. So, like I say, this could be a positive as well. It's not necessarily a negative, unless you get spanked for the fines and you leave everything till last minute, and then it's going to be hard for you. It's going to be painful. So, but please offer down your thoughts and let me know if you've got any feedback for me. We're creeping into an hour now, guys. I said this would probably be like 45 minutes. So I'm just going to hit the comments box to see if there's any feedback on any of this. And again, these quarterly updates, guys, they're rough snapshots for HMRC. They don't include everything like, year-end adjustments. It's not like HMRC are going to come and chase us after each submission. So it's the final declaration that matters, okay? And if you haven't got an accountant, by the way, and you're looking, who shall I use if you're coming into self-employment, then just make sure, my advice would be, go to one that has experience of construction and trades, sole traders, but mostly trades lads. They've got a good understanding. They've got a good understanding on your allowable expenses of what I've just mentioned, some of the things there. Someone that can help you stay compliant, but without overpaying. And I said before, a good accountant will save you more than they cost. And the lads that will get caught out again, if you don't track your expenses, if you rush your submissions, if you putting guesstimates through, you're guessing your figures, or you're ignoring it, these are the lads that are going to struggle, basically. So anyway, listen, I hope that's been insightful for you. It's not, like I say, it's not a fun topic, especially at Christmas time. It's not a fun topic, but it's a topic we have to get our heads around and we have to understand. Okay. Xero and QuickBooks, by the way, are compatible also with your trade base. And as you know, your trade base is our sponsor inside the tribe. What is it? Okay, so your trade base is not cloud accounting software. Your trade base is a CRM system. And if you don't know what one of them is, drop me a message. I'll explain what it is. But while we're on the topic of being organized and being on top of our business, I'll end with the CRM, because if you're going to go implementing accounting software, which you have to do now, no choice, then maybe it's time for you to have a CRM, because a CRM will connect and work together with your accounting software. A CRM is not accounting software, and an accounting software is not a CRM. So, because oftentimes I'll speak to lads and they'll say, I don't need a CRM, I've got Xero. And I'll say, does it do like email follow-ups to your customers? And, you know, does it capture job images, and does it capture like text message feeds, and does it organize your calendar for you and all this? Oh, I don't think it does all that. No, I think it's just invoices. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of them might do it. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to go digital, then go fully digital would be my advice. Because where I see lads dropping the balls in their business isn't just with the bookkeeping and the submitting of the invoices and the tax situation. It's forgetting to follow up with customers. It's forgetting to send the quote. It's losing customer information that I see a lot. It's forgetting about the inquiry that come in. It's writing people's contact number down on like the back of a sandwich packet and then losing the sandwich packet and forgetting to follow up. It's having bits of customer information across Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, text message. Sometimes it's on a voicemail on your phone. Sometimes it's written down. Sometimes it's a recommendation from a neighbor. Oh, so-and-so wants a quote. So you've got all this information is lost and scattered across all these different apps and platforms, some of them digital, some of them physical. And that's what fries our brain, because we're trying to think, oh, what time was I supposed to go and look at that job for Mrs. Smith? Where's that bit of paper? Did she send me the message on WhatsApp, or was it on Facebook? Did she text me? Or was it an email? Can't remember now. So then we're going back and we're sifting through, which is stressful, trying to find customer information and agreements and arrangements that we've made, because we can't remember, or we can't remember what we quoted. And the customer's saying, oh, you said you'd do this. Oh, did I? Oh, I'm not sure. And then you go along with it. If we had that bullet pointed and recorded inside a CRM, we could just pull that up on our phone. So, oh yeah, I did say that I'd patch up the bathroom ceiling. You're right. You know, not everybody's got a brilliant mathematical memory and can remember everything. Most of us can't. So that's why we need a reliable system that can help us to keep track of our business, because there's a lot of moving parts when you're self-employed. It's not a case of turn up with your bucket and trowel, slap it on, you know, get paid and go. If you're a domestic plasterer, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of marketing, sales, admin. There's a lot of toing and froing with communications with your customers. And if we can make that process simple, fast, easy, just by a couple of clicks on a CRM system. I mean, I've been using this now for like 4 years. And it's been an absolute game changer for me. Every single day I use it. Every day. I'll finish a job, I'll sit in the van, I'll ping the invoice across. I've normally taken 50% already. So the app will say, I'll type the customer's name into the app, it'll come up, Mrs. Smith, would you like to send the invoice for the remaining balance? Yes. It auto calculates what she owes. You know, it auto generates a nice invoice. Press send. Then it says, would you like to send a receipt? Yes. It'll generate a nice, neat receipt. Email that across to her. It will send follow-ups for the customer review. It does everything. So it takes all of our thinking capacity. It basically does the heavy lifting. So instead of all this information swimming around in our head and us trying to remember 1,000 different things, it just gets put into a machine and it does it for us. And it's kind of like having a little buddy, you know, a little Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder when you're at work, and you can always rely on the CRM to remember what's coming next, what you need to do. So again, if you struggle with this kind of thing in your business and you find it hard staying organized, keeping on top of your jobs, and just keeping track of everything, I suggest you use a CRM system. And the one that we use inside the tribe is called Your Trade Base. 50% off 2026 on your membership. So I think it's like £25 a month. Get that for like 12.5 quid a month. So it's not something I've created myself. It's just something that I use. And I got in touch with Your Trade Base. I told them how great I think their app is. And we've been working together now for like 12 months. So listen, if that's something you need help on, consider having a look. I can send you some more information on that if you're interested. But there are some videos on Trial Talk as well, guys. So listen, you have yourselves a fantastic Saturday. I hope that's been insightful for you. I'll touch the comments a bit later on after I've had some brekkie, and we'll come back, and if there's any information that I've missed, I'll try to respond in the comment section below, and I'll put those links in for you as well. All right, have a cracking weekend, and if I don't catch you near Christmas, have an awesome Christmas as well, and speak to you soon. Cheers, boys.